Hi. I've been thinking about something for quite a while, and I wanted to talk to you guys today about trust. Trust. My talk today stems from the fact that over the past few weeks I've experienced some, for much of a better word, lack of trust from former team members. Trust in not a very good light at all. And I wanted to take this and turn it around and make a talk about trust and so forth. So trust is one of those things that is very difficult to gain, incredibly easy to lose, and is something that I think permeates us as veterinarians. Trust. Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that today. So, trust is something that when I was first starting to practice or when I was in vet school, I can't honestly remember because it's been so long ago, that I read an article that we as a veterinary profession are the most trusted profession out there. And the irony is we're the most trusted profession with the least amount of income. Woohoo! No, it's one of those things. We never got into it for the money, and we're working on that as a whole, as a group, and there's some great people out there working on that. But let's get back to trust. So trust is one of those things that we are incredibly trusted. I think a way of looking at the potential abuse of that trust is I tell a lot of new associates, I tell my team that we are so trusted by some clients that we can go in an exam room and we can actually convince them to do things that, I think that take this to heart, every new practitioner out there is, you are so trusted that you can convince clients to do things that maybe they don't really need to do. And I think that it is part of what I'll talk about today about the word honesty. I think it's very important that you always keep that in mind. They are entrusting you with the life of their pet. So there's these three circles. And I think the first circle is that of the client and patient. It intertwines with a second circle, and that is of your team members, whether they consist of the veterinarians, the support team members, technicians, receptionists, office managers. And the third interweaving circle is yourself or the business. Yourself being the practicing veterinarian on hand that day. The other aspect is you as the business owner. And we have a client that trusts us to perform the best medical and customer service. We trust that client in turn to actually, pay for that service. We have the team members that they entrust us to continue their employment, that we have their back, that we share values with them. We trust them in turn to do what's best medically and client service wise, and that all rolls into what's best for the business. And then ourselves is we trust ourselves that we're going to be great veterinarians, to the best of our ability. How do you develop a culture of trust? I think the number one most important thing, and it's something that I'm communicating about, I'm talking quite a lot about on all these postings and blogs and so forth, is communication. I think communication is huge. I'm seeing a lot of posts by veterinary practice owners that say, I don't like what this team member's doing, and blah, 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 they're doing this, they're doing that. And you read this and you realize that the thing that they're lacking is communicating. You have to communicate. It's one of those, I'm going to be talking about the difficult things that we have to do as veterinarians and as business owners is communicate. It's one of the most important things we need to do. It's one of the things that could save your butt in a situation. So I think it's very important that you communicate. So you communicate where you want that employee to be as far as what your values are, what your expectations of them are in their position. I think that's huge. I think your communication with the client is huge about what the medical course of action you would best recommend for the scenario. Do you realize one of the number one reasons why a client will lose trust in you as a veterinarian, as a practice, is lack of communication? And when the most important time to communicate is when you make a mistake. I read a Facebook posting and it's phenomenal, and I apologize, I can't remember the name of the person who posted this, but their team member put an ear med in the eye of the pet. They realized this quickly, and they flushed the eye. They got consults with ophthalmologists. They talked to the owner about it. And can you imagine that communication? That must have been incredibly difficult. There was a lot of anger from the client, but they managed to bring that client back to the point that they could have a reasonable discussion. They did the right thing in many ways. They opted to paying for the ophthalmology consult and everything like that. So they're doing the right thing. But I think the huge thing there is communication. Had they lacked communication, and I see this all the time, especially when mistakes are made, I see the lack of that person involved in that mistake, whether it's the veterinarian or the team member, of communicating with that client. And that's the number one reason why you were sent to the board, is that lack of communication. So it is key. It is paramount. It is important to communicate. I know we're all introverts, but you have to communicate. It's huge. So definitely do that. The other thing that can build trust in a practice is being honest. Honest to yourself about your skill level, honest to the client about where they stand in that sort of situation, honest to your team members about where you want them to stand as far as a team member, whether it's your approach towards that situation, your approach towards the practice. You got to be honest. And I think one of the most difficult discussions to have, especially with a team member client, are these honest discussions. They are brutally difficult. Being brutally honest is brutally difficult, but I think it's something that would definitely benefit you as a business owner, especially in this veterinary field. Talking about how you feel about situations, having a constructive conversation with them, I think is huge. So be honest. The other thing that I think is important is you have to share your values. So you as a practice owner, you're going to have specific values that you want to emphasize and have for the team. And I think sharing those and making it clearly communicated, being honest about them and sharing them is important. And I think a great example is, and let me be brutally honest, is a veterinary practice is a business. And no matter what, a business goal is to be profitable. And that goes with any business. It could be another medical situation, it could be anything, but the goal is to be profitable. So clearly that has to be a shared, your values on developing a profitable practice have to be shared with them. Also, your goal is to provide great customer service and great medicine. Those are things that you need to share with your team. I think a great example of talking about things is like dental. We as veterinarians, we want to get dentals to become what we call dental profis, where there's no extractions, that there's regular cleanings, just like we get when we go to the dentist. And I think sharing that value, because that is better medicine. It is taking that progressive step towards a better medical care. And I think you share that with your team, I think is very important. And then you all get together and you drive that shared value home. So I think it's very important to do that. So communicate, be honest, share your values. And the other thing that is, again, difficult is doing the right thing. I am at that age where I listen to my gut. You ever have a situation where you're going to make a decision, do something, and you got this little voice inside your head, you got this feeling, I don't know if that's right. Listen to that person. Listen to that person. That person is right. That person is your gut, and they are right. Listen to your gut. Your gut instinct, your gut feelings are the way to go. And I think that is part of doing the right thing. If you make a mistake, and listen, we've all either been privy to it or we've done it ourselves. If you make a mistake, do the right thing. And what the right thing is, communicate. Be honest. Communicate. Be honest, and then communicate some more. I wrote in a response that you communicate the F out of the situation. Lack of communication, like I said, is the number one reason why a client will lose trust in you. When they lose trust in you, that leads to a whole downhill slope, and it can be detrimental to you, your business, your license. So you have to communicate. So that example about the eye, the ear meds going in the eye, they communicated, they were honest, and they kept communicating. And hopefully they're keeping communicating, because this just happened. I think that's the most important thing. And it's tough. It's a tough thing to do. It's the right thing to do. These are incredibly difficult conversations to have, but you have to do it. So communicate, share your values, be honest, do the right thing, and you will have a circle of trust. Finally, surround yourself as a business owner, surround yourself with people of shared values and people that will help push you forward. One of the most difficult things that you should do is doing the right thing is when you have a negative employee. Doing the right thing is trying to build and turn that employee. If you're able to communicate, be honest, share your values with that employee and get them to turn around so that their shared values are your values, that is a win-win-win-win-win-win situation. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen all the time. And the decision to make a decision on that employee is going to happen. But it is a tough decision. It's probably your gut feeling to do the right thing. You have to do that, and that will definitely benefit you as a practice. I think that negativity, getting that negativity out is the way to go. Surrounding yourself with people that will help build you as a person, as a practice, are the way to go. So that's my take on trust. Easily lost, difficult to maintain and get because there's so many things that are difficult to do, but that's the way to be. Thanks for watching.
Trust.